What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Nerdwide podcast, and happy Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 week to all of those who celebrate. I'm your host, Tyler Haynes, with my good friend and favorite co-host, Mr. Chris Rivers, who is abandoning me this week, might I add. Let's just go ahead and jump right into that. We all see all these Marvel movies together, Chris, and get one text message and it ruins my month. So, just letting you know where I'm at mentally and emotionally.
Sorry. I do think that it's interesting that Marvel chooses to drop Guardians, which is their big, space space franchise, on the week of May the 4th be with you.
I wonder if they did that on purpose.
Yeah.
Or if it's just how things panned out, like they wanted for that first week of May going, but I could see it being a thing.
Yeah.
It's definitely Disney. They're all Disney properties, so they're all
right.
intermingling together. But listen, we haven't had a Star Wars movie in I can't tell you how long. All we've had our shows, and I'm like, when's our next Star Wars movie gonna happen?
In a minute.
Let's see. Quick housekeeping before we jump into everything. We do have our reacts to The Flash's trailer number 2, which should be our last trailer before the film comes out later this year. That is up on the Nerdwide channel under our reacts playlist, so make sure you're watching those because we have a lot of fun doing them because we go into these blind, don't watch them when they release like I would like to, but we do it for content, and I love getting Chris's thoughts as we watch it and break it down initially without anybody else's muddling what we think. So those are fun. Make sure you're checking all those out because every time a good nerdy show, anything drops that we're going to watch or are about, we react to it. And at 5 o'clock in the mornings. I say not 6. A little too late for 6, but we do it. Don't forget to subscribe to either our YouTube or our podcasting service of your choice. If you enjoy the show, make sure you leave us a thumbs up on YouTube or give us a good rating for whatever podcasting app you do use. It helps out the channel, and we greatly appreciate it. If you don't enjoy what you see, you're here, or if we got something wrong or anything like that, make sure you leave us a comment down below so we can improve the show. We can't improve anything if we don't know if it's broken. So make sure you do it that way, please. If you want to do more, you can always go to patreon.com/nerdwide. 3 different tiers, 3 different monetary values, all a bunch of goodies and things you can do on the Patreon side. There's movies, TV shows, books, comics, video games, anything you want us to play or do, there is a tier there for you. So make sure you subscribe to us there, and we'll send us an email. We'll send you an email back out saying, hey, what would you like us to do? And whatever, it depends on what part of the tier you're on. But Chris, how has your week been? I feel like this week we hadn't talked a whole too terribly much. We did the Flash reacts, but I feel like that was about it as far as most of our conversations went.
Had more overtime, so.
Oh, always just a great time.
Yeah, hopefully that's over for a minute. It kind of threw everything off too, which really sucks. But yeah, outside of that, it's been pretty uneventful. It always means I have less time to game, to watch
to
stuff.
Do the fun stuff.
Yeah, the fun stuff at the end of the week, though, with the NFL draft, was really
What'd you
good.
think about the Titans draft this year?
I was surprised they went all offense.
Yeah, that was really weird, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the first couple picks, I agreed with. After that, it's like you would think they would have worked a corner or maybe another edge rusher in, something like that. But no, they didn't. They went all offense.
The Steelers are, someone dubbed it in the Steelers Facebook group, like on their page or whatever, and everyone's been running with it ever since this one random lady commented it. They said the Steelers are really building the picket fence this year, huh? Because of our Pickett, our quarterback. And I was like, we got the steel curtain, now we got the picket fence. It's like, okay, and everybody's been running with it, so I'm like, I'm not mad at it.
I mean, picket fence doesn't sound that intimidating, though.
Right, it's Pickett's fence, he's, I don't know, man. That's just what some random lady on Facebook did. You can't blame her. Let's see, I'm trying to think my week. It was busy, bunch of Grizzlies basketball. Unfortunately, our season is over. It did not end at all like I wanted it to. Stayed up Monday night past midnight, which I never do, just to watch that game. Wednesday Night Scream is great. Then Friday, I turned it off right before halftime just because it's one of those, you can already tell it was not going to be great. And sure enough, it was not. So I woke up Saturday morning and they lost by 40 points. I was like, well, I'm glad I didn't tarnish my mind with that beating or stay up that late. I already happened to me once that week. I'm not doing it. Watched a bunch of movies, which we'll talk about once we get there. A bunch, I mean 2, but they're relevant to the show. So TV, didn't watch too terribly much of. Games, I did game a lot. And I plan to game a lot again this week coming up. So a bunch of stuff.
Did you make it through Kingdom Hearts?
See, we'll get there. There's a fun story there. Chris, TV-wise, I know you were watching, or you worked a bunch of overtime. Did you watch anything TV-wise?
I'm down to just one episode left in Quantum Leap.
Oh, is it getting good?
It's getting really interesting. Yeah.
Are they coming back for a second season?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
They've already started filming.
Awesome. So it's not going to take too much longer then.
I think they're one of the shows that they just rolled right into season 2 in case of a writer's strike, which I haven't heard anything else.
I haven't either. Like I've even looked into things, and I'm like, nothing's been
tomorrow. Done. As we record this, tomorrow's the deadline, right? May 1.
Yes, it is.
That's not good.
That's not a good sign if I hadn't heard anything until then.
Yeah. Now, I haven't Googled anything on it either, so...
Right, that's true, too.
If they'd settled anything, you'd think they would have blasted
it'd be all over the news, and especially all the outlets and things we follow. I'm trying to think. Not much TV, just basketball and our normal weekly stuff. We're trying to catch up on Love is Blind. We're a season behind, so... which we haven't had a lot of time here recently, and I don't think we're going to this week either. But now that basketball's out of our lives for our season, we've got some time here until football kicks off. Although the Pirates are number 1 in the National League. Not a big deal, Chris. I know it's been years, decades coming. I know, but I think the pitch clock has done great things for our offense there. So
I can't even rag on you about their history because it's like it's kind of like Vanderbilt, right? You can't really say anything bad about them because it's like, all right, if they have a great year, we've
earned it. It's been a rough past couple of years. I'm tired of all my friends and everyone's saying, "Oh, you're just a Pirates friend. What are they still last?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's a rebuilding year. It's a rebuilding year for 7 years now." But no, nothing crazy TV wise this week. Video games I played a lot of this weekend. We'll talk about that here shortly because I got a lot to say. And then a bunch of movies. I don't think I watched any TV other than our normal stuff, which is mind blowing to me. But let's get into it. Let's quit this sports talk. This isn't the Sports Wide podcast. This is the Nerdwide podcast. We've got 3 shows to talk about. And we're going to be bringing back a new segment here next week, ladies and gentlemen. So we're not going to bring it back this week. Next week we'll talk about it. But it is the Hero of the Week and our Douche Canoe of the Week. So if you're here from our Hero Cravings, we watched all of our shows and we would dub a Hero of the Week out of all of our shows and a Douche Canoe of the Week. Just the worst, the slimiest out of all of our shows. And it's going to be a lot of fun. It's one of those things I really enjoyed and we really enjoyed, and we're going to bring it back into it for you guys. It's also a fun guessing game for all you listeners and viewers as well. Okay, we watched these episodes. Who's going to be the worst one of the worst? Or who's going to be the hero? But, this week, you never know. So we'll start bringing them back into episode 112 of the Nerdwide podcast. All right. Enough of that housekeeping garbage. Superman and Lois, Season 3, Episode 6, titled Of Sound Mind, directed by Diana Valentine. We're going to nerdsandbeyond.com by Haley once again for all of our recapping needs. We're going to put the spoilers tag up. With all of the weight of Lois's diagnosis weighing on Clark's heart, he attempts counseling with other significant others going through the same thing. The counselor tells him a story about her own husband and having to say goodbye to him, and it freaks Clark out so bad he leaves and tells Lois he will not be going back. After some thought and a conversation with Lois later in the episode, Clark does decide to give it another shot, admitting to the counselor his fears of having to say goodbye to his wife. Now he wants to make sure that he can be the person she needs as well as his sons. It's time for John's first day at the fire station. He puts on the outfit loaned to him by Kyle and belonged to a man named Rusty, who, according to the crew, died in those exact clothes. Clark and Lois laugh and shake their heads. He heads out at the station. Kyle puts him to work cleaning on the fire truck, and just a nice little first-time hazing, kind of essentially what that is. Yeah. This scene cranked me up because it was such a family scene. The brother ragging on him, everybody ragging on him, and it's just, again, this new actor I really enjoy more, and I don't feel like the other one could have pulled these scenes off. Jordan, on the other hand, has been exceeding at his training at the fortress. He feels he's ready to go out on his own to assist his dad, but Clark doesn't think he's ready yet. However, Lois sends him out to save people in a flood, and when he comes home, Clark is ready to yell at him about it when she says that she was the reason he went. So Clark says he thinks he's ready. They'll train together at the fortress. Clark takes him to the fortress and throws challenges at him he's doing well with, but Clark continues to shoot him with hologram lasers. Jordan grows frustrated, but Clark is trying to be realistic. This is what will happen in the real world. They won't stop trying to hurt him. Jordan tells him that he thinks his dad is just scared and that he doesn't want someone else with powers saving the world. Onomatopoeia, is that what we're calling is that what the villain's name is? I had no idea her name was Onomatopoeia. Okay, that's going to be a mouthful. Onomatopoeia lures Superman into a trap by using Lois's voice calling for help. He rushes over there to look for her, only to find Onomatopoeia waiting for him. I love her mask. This is like our first time seeing it change so much and do different things with it. And it was very, very, very cool, and I am all in on this one. They use their powers and incapacitate him while people shooting him with kryptonite lasers wearing him down. Lois comes home and Jordan asks if she's okay because they heard her crying for help. Once they realize it wasn't her, she makes him listen for his dad. Superman eventually cries out agony and Lois tells him he has to save him. Jordan tells her that he said he wasn't ready, but Lois knows he is and he'll make it there faster than the DOD will. Which I'm begged to question, Chris, where is Steel?
Good question.
Because he
completely,
neither one of them were in the episode whatsoever.
No.
So, I guess it was for character development for Jordan more so, which is fine. And he does fly faster than Steel, but, you should at least have given him a call. Hey, Superman's hurt and lost. Go with Jordan. But, that would have been the middle ground where this would have helped. Because, say he's not ready. Okay, well, let's bring in another hero to go with him. But... plot development.
Right.
One of the men with the kryptonite, let's see. Jordan rushes over and knocks down the man with lasers and tries to go after Onomatopoeia, who knocks him over and continues their work on Superman. One of the men with the kryptonite gun shoots Jordan in the chest, and Superman screams out in anger, taking out the man and Onomatopoeia. He rushes to Jordan's side, tries to wake him up as Jordan gasps for air. The kryptonite doesn't seem to affect him like it does Clark. Interesting. Clearly, it's his human DNA mixed in there. But, it goes to show he was not really ready because they're going to do everything they can to hurt Jordan and Superman. Although, if I'm Onomatopoeia, I would be searching anybody up with a son named Jordan, who could possibly be Superman's age, for a son, because he was very loudly screaming Jordan's name. Just search up father-son Jordans, and you know what? You're not too far from home of who Onomatopoeia is, so they can find out who Superman is. I digress. I guess she was knocked out. Suspend your disbelief. I know. Let's see. Sophie has been trying to spend more time with her parents, but first time back in the show in a couple episodes. And Jamie thought they were hinting that she's never in any of the episodes for doing this. I'm like, I don't think so. I just think they're finally using it for plot development. Sophie's been trying to spend more time with her parents, but always seems like they're too busy for her. As Jonathan comes over to study with Sarah, Kyle's heading out to meet Chrissy, which is, Sophie enters the living room area and asks where their dad went. Sarah gives her quick answers. Sophie says she is hungry as she looks in the fridge and there's nothing to eat, so Sarah tells her to leave the apartment to get food. A while later, Lana comes and asks where Sophie is, but once Sarah tells her she sent her to get food, it's been over an hour, everyone panics. Hilarious. I thought she was going to be the villain for a minute. Like, they're villain development here. This poor little girl's just, who cares? I got to do homework. I don't have time to play with you. Oh, I've got to go to work. Oh, I've got to go to work. You can't do anything with me at work. I'm like, okay, all right. We're setting up for some villainy here.
She's going to sell everybody out and end up working with Onomatopoeia.
Onomatopoeia and alliteration is going to be her name. They cover ground all over Smallville when Lana heads into the gas station to see if she's there. Apparently they sell comics there at this gas station as well. When she finds Kyle, she yells at him because she's been trying to contact him. He hasn't answered his phone. He was supposed to be watching her, but according to him, he was out on a hike. Lana finds that odd considering there's nothing he has done in the past 20 years she's known him. She notices he keeps looking off to the side, so she looks around the corner and finds Chrissy in his jacket. She shakes her head, gives it to him a little bit, and goes to find Sophie herself. Which I'm like, lady, the only thing that this guy did wrong was went and got some when he was supposed to be watching his kids. Granted, that's a very bad thing, but you can't be mad at him that he's out dating other people.
He also did leave his high school age daughter to look after. I mean, she should have been able to look after.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. I thought you were going the other way. And I was like, oh.
No.
we do that here.
No.
But yeah, she
should have been able to have looked after.
Correct.
Her little sister.
So if anybody, she should be mad at Sarah.
Sarah. Right.
I mean, I can't help that. Well, Kyle's just going hanging out with Betty Boop over here, but I can't stand that relationship. I can't stand it at all.
Well, and Kyle does an awful job, by the way, of trying to be inconspicuous. Like,
right.
He keeps making it obvious that he's looking to the.
He keeps blocking off. He's just being, oh yeah, I want to hike. She said, you've never done hiking. I'm like, yeah, well, I took up a lot of things after you divorced me, is what I would have said.
Why did he not just walk away from that aisle?
Right.
Why not
he could say, okay, let's go look for where you can go look. I'll go look somewhere else. And they could have, went off. He could drop her off and went out looking. It wouldn't have been a big deal. That's,
right.
People don't think about this. It's all about the show. It's in the script. Right. Sarah and John find Sophie sitting on a ledge alone at the football field that's not a football field, at the fair. John goes over to her and talks about his own feelings of feeling alone, how he tried to convince his parents to let him move back to Metropolis. He tells her that sometimes he took his feelings out on his brother, but when things got tough, he always had John's back. Sophie tells him that's his family, not hers. He doesn't care about her. He looks over at a worried Kyle and Sarah and says he highly doubts it. They come running over and embrace her. Sarah thanks John, and Kyle tells him there may be a new shirt in his future for this. I thought that was a nice little line at the end. Although, if I was desperately looking for my youngest daughter and someone told me, hey, no, let him talk to her, some random teenager, I'd be like, I know who your family is anyways, but that's kind of weird. I'm sitting there panic because I thought my daughter's lost, kidnapped, dead at Smallville. I mean, anything could happen. She develops new powers. Who knows? Lois has lunch with Pia. I don't think I'm saying that name right. Pia. Well, anyways. At a restaurant near Hobbs Bay, they talk about Bruno and everything he's done for the city, but Lois wants to know where the money came from. Pia doesn't want to fight her, but brings up all he's done with the hospital and the lives he's saving, including her and Lois's. It's hard for her to imagine doing things that could hurt people when they caught things her first team didn't. Lois apologizes to tell her that she's right. Lois also divulges about how whenever Lois says she may die from cancer, Clark doesn't want to hear it. Pia tells her that's a reality they have to face and live with every day, but for everyone else, they don't really understand. After sneaking around for much of the season and Lana finally catching the two of them together, Kyle decides to ask Chrissy to be his girlfriend. Chrissy, overcome with stress from work, lets out an exasperated yes as they kiss at the Smallville Gazette. At the end of the episode, Onomatopoeia is visibly exhausted from taking on Superman and Jordan as they show up to Bruno Mannheim's lair and they state they can't do this anymore. They peel off the mask to reveal it is Pia. She says she can feel herself getting weaker. Bruno promises that he's going to make sure she gets better. Which, for our villain, I was okay with it. Kind of out of left field. She's only been in the last episode and this week's episode, so it's not anybody like a big reveal, which is fine. I don't think we really need that because Bruno Mannheim is our big bad. But I thought it was kind of cool that, Lois has been fraternizing with the enemy or is fraternizing with the enemy and has no idea. So, kind of cool.
Yeah.
And
it was a pretty good episode.
The flying scenes get me every time. Like when they take off, like even there was one part at the beginning when Jordan flies in, I guess, no, was it from the flood? No, it was the time before that when he got done with the training. He flew in and you can see the window. So there's a window here and then the front door. And you can see him fly in from the window and land on the porch and then coming through the front door. Like I feel like the CGI this season has been leagues above last season, which is not, last season was great and this is great too. But I feel like it's just much, much better. And I feel like the team and the cinematography, directing, all of it, they know what they're doing this season. And like it meshes real well. I feel like all the acting's really well done. Jordan's not his whiny self, I guess. Like he's more confident this season, and it's just better acting wise for the actor. We got to see his super suit. We didn't even get to talk about that for the first time, which is kind of weird. I don't really particularly like the goggles because he's got the little cap that keeps his hair meshed down and everything, and then he's got the big goggles. Don't know how I feel about those. The suit is fine, but the goggles and little helmet thing or hat piece is not my best.
What I didn't understand about the goggles, right, is these are just what, World War One or World
World War
Two?
Two little goggles. So great granddad.
Yeah. So he goes to charge up his laser beam that he
Right.
shoots from his eyes, right? And I'm thinking that's going to destroy the goggles.
Right. And
Like,
that's what.
how are you?
It's a good
They're
point.
man-made. They're not made to withstand that,
Yeah,
right?
it's
It's
just,
like
you're gonna have holes in them everywhere. Everywhere you're looking when
not
you shoot through your lasers.
it's not like Cyclops's
The red
goggles
tinted.
from
Yeah,
the
you press
X-Men.
the button, the lens comes up and down.
Yeah.
Come on, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that when he started to do that. I didn't think it looked good because
No, I
it
mean,
started glowing red and like a little bug eyed look to. I was like, okay, I didn't even think about that. That's a good point.
he told his grandfather he's going to take care of them.
Well, yeah,
That's all
well,
I'm saying.
maybe he reinforced them or did something to them. Who knows?
John Henry went in there and
John Henry made some special goggles, just completely destroying what made the goggles special. Didn't you know? But overall, I thought a good episode. I've got a lot of plot development, which is what I'm always for. I don't like filler episodes, which I
I know
don't
it's
feel like Superman and Lois does. But
I know it's Superman and Lois, but do you think that they take the extreme step of killing her off?
I don't think so, because I don't. I think they're going to somehow find this cure for cancer
Do
using
you think
his blood, and it's
they'll take
all yeah.
some of the super blood that
She's not even going to notice it, maybe, or something's going to happen. And I feel like that's the route that they're kind of leaning towards, especially since our friend now has been taking the treatment too. So
maybe that's the possible storyline for a potential season 4 is she gets this blood, she's cured, everything's great, and then she starts to notice little things that
mm-hmm.
she couldn't do before, like she's a little bit stronger,
Right,
she's and she's like, what's going on? And then her dad, or Clark, probably Clark, because he would probably cut the deal with Mannheim, says, well, there was some of my blood available,
right.
and so they gave it to you. And
It'd be a good plot point too for Jonathan as well, because he'd be in a whole family full of supers and he's just ordinary.
yeah,
So I mean, you could do it that way if we would ever get an announcement of a season 4, which really bugs me. We still haven't heard anything.
I think they need to move it to Max so that they can get a
Mm-hmm.
little edgier with it,
Right.
and then
Which everyone loves Superman and Lois, and they're going to follow there. So I mean, that's how you boost some sales up for Max.
give
Um,
them three
keep
more seasons.
yeah, and I mean, you boost a lot of things, and they would drop all at once. I think that's the biggest thing is it's a weekly drop now, but they would all drop. No, they can do weekly on Max. What I'm talking about, Titans and Doom Patrols weekly. Wouldn't have to take any breaks, which looks like for the next 2 episodes we're not taking a break. So I don't know what last Tuesday was, but for some reason it was a break.
It had to be designed to get them a certain end
Oh,
date.
we talked about that last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
God, it's been a minute. Speaking of, I did watch Flash. I am caught up on Flash, by the way, because
Are you?
this week was the week of Arrow or Stephen Amell coming back. Very well done. I did
Yeah?
not cry. I teared up a little, but did not cry. They almost got me. But I'm with it. I'm in the boat that everyone like I'm seeing online is. It's more of a hey, let's clean up the other characters that we've established, not so much the Flash, because the Flash has been there, done that. We're done everything. We're 9 seasons now. It's more so the supporting characters and cast and people that we hadn't seen since like season 1 or 2 is being brought back in, and we're cleaning up. Diggle, they cleaned up the Green Lantern storyline. They just said it was not his. There's still bright days ahead, and it just was that temptation. Green Arrow sent that temptation to him apparently, and said it wasn't for him, and that he's doing better what he's doing now, which that's fine. Whatever, retconned that. The villain from season 7 came back that same episode. We cleaned him up a little bit, fixed him. It's like a lot of these villains are coming back. We're teaming them up, making our own rogues gallery and doing things. So yes, it's the Red Death is there, but not so much. We're really worried about that. But it's a decent season. I mean, I'm watching The Flash, not The Flash and Co. But that's just me. I know, and I get it, but it is what it is. Listen, I want to talk about something else.
Okay.
Gotham Knights, episode 6, A Chill in Gotham. They've been teasing this episode as much as they've been teasing the Flash episode on all of the programming, because it's the son of Batman coming face to face with the killer of Batman's parents who made him Batman. I thought, before we get into it, very well done episode. Very well done with the Joe Chill stuff and the way that they had it. This one was directed by Alexandra LaRoche. Turns out, if I'm not mistaken, I want to make sure.
Can I just say, while you're looking that up, Doug Bradley, a great job as Joe Chill.
Yes.
You know, he's famous for playing Pinhead in the Hellraiser horror series.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also got Ethan Embry in this. He's going to be playing Quizmaster.
I thought that was very cool. Little scene on there too.
He's very good and stuff, so I'm glad that he's going to be a part of it too.
So
Turner continues to be the weak spot.
Still, every single episode, man, every single one. Like every single one. So Alexandra LaRoche is the one that directed this episode. She is script supervisor for The Flash, The Tomorrow People, did you watch that one with Robbie Amell? A great series. R.L. Stein's The Haunting Hour. She did 11 episodes of Fringe. She was script supervisor on Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer. So she's been all over the place as far as...
She's got hit and miss on there.
Yeah. And it looks like this is her first directing role, as far as I can see. But she's mainly script supervisor, so it's awesome that she came out to this one. NerdsandBeyond.com by Amy. Let's see. Joe Chill has been on death row for killing the parents of Bruce Wayne for years, but breaking news, his execution date is super soon, and he requested a visit from Harvey Dent before he goes. He tells Harvey that after 15 years on death row, the city is suddenly itching to execute him. Harvey says he doesn't know why, but Chill got a Court of Owls coin on his food tray, and he tells Harvey that he should talk to the kid who killed Batman. Stephanie goes to visit her dad at the work who hosts the quiz ball. Steph shows him the cipher they found and asks for his help cracking it. In quite a vague and not so roundabout cryptic way, he tells her that she will figure it out. She's interrupted by a call from Harvey Dent, and he goes to the stage for the show. Carrie goes to visit her mom at the emergency room where she works. Her mom says that she has to do homework there every day after school now to make sure she gets it done, considering she's been skipping classes and late nights and things like that due to her being Robin. In their phone call, Harvey tells Steph that Joe Chill wants to meet with Turner. Dwella approves of this. She loves Joe Chill. Turner kind of wants to hear what he has to say, since the Court of Owls wants to silence him. Harvey and Turner meet deep in the tunnels. Harvey wasn't sure he'd come. Before they could really talk, Dwella's there with a knife at Harvey's throat. Turner's not so stupid enough to come alone after what happened with Cressida. Harvey points out that if this were a trap, the GCPD SWAT would have already taken Dwella about the minute she pulled the knife. Dwella seems to deem that fair and leaves Turner and Harvey to do it. I thought this was very well done, how they did this whole scene right here. And very smart, very, very smart, because I thought they were just going to meet up, and I was like, okay, that's not a really... a good way to do that. And then Dwella comes out and puts a knife up, and I was like, okay. And he's like, yeah, we just had Cressida, 2 weeks ago or last week, or last episode, that said she was the one that did all this. So, news breaks that Harvey Dent has delayed the execution of Joe Chill, which Lincoln March uses as leverage for his own campaign. Meanwhile, Dwella wants to drink to honor Joe Chill, but Steph says no, since they're trying to figure out the cipher. Harper wants a drink, and Colin is not a fan of the idea. Carrie sees Brody march at the hospital. He's finishing his court-mandated community service from several episodes ago. She shows him around the hospital, and they chat about Carrie's mom. Duella, Steph, and Harper drink. Colin wants everyone to stop and tries to get the whiskey away from them so they can focus. They talk about Steph's dad and how he was being vague and cryptic when he gave Steph the cipher back. Harper pulls some words from what he said. Sherlock, fear, and last. It's a nod to Sherlock Holmes' book that uses a book cipher. Steph's dad was giving them a hint after all. Very cool. Although, if this is my dad, I'd be like, all right, Betty, okay, I understand you're being fun. I'll be the fun parent. If you want to figure this out, you got to do it yourself. But come on. All right, let's do this. And what's funny was in that scene prior with her and her dad, he said, oh, what's this a list to? He said, oh, it's the McKellen ledger from the mob team. And he made a funny remark. And she goes, oh, it's for a class assignment. Which I'm like, listen, if that's a class assignment, I want to go to that school. That's fun. Right. Let's see. Steph is surprised Harper knows that, but she says it was an answer on Quizball. Cold in true brother fashion, reveals that Harper is a huge fan and she never misses an episode. Hilarious. A nice little callback because she mentioned 2 or 3 episodes ago with the bomb that she wishes she had her life. She's got the perfect dad and the mom and stuff like that. And that's what we found about her drug problem, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, which is kind of funny. Let's see. Anyway, they just have to find a single book in the billions of possibilities. That makes even Colin do a shot. Harvey takes Turner to the prison disguised as a guard so he can see Joe Chill. Turner asks Chill, if you love the Waynes so much, why did you kill them? Chill asks back, why did you kill your father? Turner said he didn't, which is exactly the point. Joe Chill is saying he's innocent. The night the Waynes were murdered, he was given a job to steal some rich family. He brought a .38 caliber gun to scare them if he needed to, but someone else shot. The bullets came from behind Joe Chill. He told everyone he was free, but no one believed him. It was his word against a child's. He didn't blame Bruce Wayne until he became Batman. So it's just a very good DC lore background there, and I really liked that. Joe Chill and Turner agree they were more like it than Turner initially thought. Turner also tells Joe that he wishes he could hear in the same situation. Anyways, I believe you. Joe Chill offers to share information on the Court of Owls. Brody March says there's a guy that really needs help and asks Carrie to go get her mom. Her mom's busy. Carrie says, take me to him. Colin finds James Joyce's Ulysses. That's the book for the cipher of the earlier clue. Back at the prison, we find out that the coins people are getting before the Court of Owl kills them are meant to represent Greek mythology, the coin it takes to get into the underworld. It's a way of gloating. If you get it, the Court of Owls knows you're going to die and that they have won. Harvey hasn't gotten a coin yet. Chill says they must find him useful. Joe Chill's advice, give up. You can't defeat the Court of Owls. He is what Turner's future looks like. A quick death is better than 50 years in a cage. Joe Chill says he has a cell neighbor who knew the key to finding the Court of Owls. He was found dead. He swallowed his own tongue. Apparently, before he died, he would say the riddle over and over, but never past the second line. Beware the Court of Owls that watches all the time. Beware the Court of Owls that watches all the time. Watches all the time. Watches all the time. Which I think has something to do with the watches.
Right.
Which is immediately where my brain went, and hopefully Turner's goes as well. We will see, because he can't do anything by himself.
No. It's so bad.
Yeah. It's
that character.
I hate it. It's just not... anyways, with that, Joe Chill is taken to be executed. Brody takes Carrie to the guy with the busted stitches. She decides she's going to take care of it herself, and she does. I get it. Someone made the line that they've been so busy because Batman's not on the streets anymore, which is fine. But come on. Nobody in that hospital knows 2 teenagers messing with a new patient screaming in pain.
Yeah, but also, Batman had to put a lot of people in the hospital.
Thank you. This is what I thought the whole time. Like, he put villains and people in the hospitals too. So, whatever. Yeah, whatever. Right. Let's see. She decides to go take care of herself. She does. Her and Brody have some really nice moments that definitely include Carrie being absolutely wonderful at everything, including saving lives. That's a very good point. She's not. We have not seen anything she has failed to be good at. Back in the tunnels, Harvey and Turner talk, unsure how that could be the key to find the Court of Owls. However, Turner thinks Harvey might be starting to believe him in all this. Harvey agrees he doesn't know who's pulling the strings, but he knows it's not Turner. They have a sweet moment that's really paternal on Harvey's end. He asks him, will you promise me that you'll be careful? Love Misha Collins. Just a great actor. Harvey leaves to go warn Lincoln March about the coin. Turner tells everyone that he found out with Joel Chill. He says they can't give up, though. They have something Chill didn't have, a team. Got really cringy at that moment, but it's fine. The team updates Turner. They figure out that the cipher is a street address. Turner wants to go check it out. Steph says she'll go too so she can check her work. Harper says it's too dangerous for Steph. Steph says she's going and follows Turner. Cullen follows them, then Harper and Duella. They go to a sketchy gym building. There's lots of guys with guns and drugs. Steph notices that there are opioids, which just drugs is fine. I don't know why the show had to make a point. Well, it was for her mom. Okay, I answered my question. Harper asks how Stephanie knows that. The answer is clear because of her mom, but Cullen covers for her. She says, "Come on, you think that they're?" He says, "Come on, you think they're packing that kind of heat, hiding aspirin." Turner, Steph, Harper, and Cullen want to stop the guys, and Duella gets a head start running away. She knows that the odds aren't great. Maybe Carrie's not around. Duella left, but maybe at least they have the element of surprise. The Gotham Knights really live up to their name. They fight the guys in the gym like heroes. Steph only jumps in when a gun is at Cullen's back. After a while of fighting, a gun's pointing at her head, which she would have been dead if this was any normal world. Harper throws away at the guy holding her at gunpoint, and he goes down. Once all the guys are taken care of, Steph goes on a powerful rampage, destroying the drugs. It's clearly symbolic. Lincoln March goes... Go ahead.
Did I miss it? Because I felt like this guy has his finger on the trigger.
Right.
His wrist or forearm gets hit by a weight.
Mm-hmm.
I would think he would have pulled the trigger. Just as
Or wouldn't he have pulled the trigger when he pulls it on her? And it's pointing there for several seconds, but maybe this guy had a conscience, is want to shoot a teenager. I don't know. And how all these people are going around and very prominent faces. They all know who they are.
If you wanna look at how evil the guy is, you could say maybe he was considering doing something else before he killed her, so he didn't want to kill her yet.
If you want to get a little bit darker there. The thing that got me, nobody in mask here. No. These are all, besides Stephanie, suspects number one in all of these things, and plastered all over the news, wanted posters, things like that. And these guys are very bad guys as well. I'm like, I don't know. Y'all take us down, I'm going to take you down. That's what I would do. But, right. I guess nobody notices because they're doing whatever they're doing in the gym. Lincoln March goes to visit Harvey. Harvey explains the meaning of the coin from the Court of Owls. Lincoln says that the Harvey is the one who planted the coin. After all, he did check a coin out of evidence the same day that Lincoln found his. Joe Chill marches to his death. They electrocute him. The lights go out in Harvey's office. The Talon appears out of nowhere and stabs Lincoln March to the back, then approaches Harvey. He does nothing. Harvey leaves the interaction completely unscathed. Obviously, they're using Two-Face here to do their bidding. I could have swore Lincoln March was a part of the Court of Owls, and they were just like a plant to see what Harvey knows. But nope, I don't think you get stabbed in the back if you're a part of them.
I don't know.
That's true. They did kill the mayor as well. So.
Well, but also, as we find out, you haven't quite gotten there yet. It's not fatal.
Mm-mm.
So would the Talon miss?
That's a very good point. GCPD show up and find the guys all tied up in the gym. By their feet are a green spray painted GK. They all find out from the news that Joe Chill died. Outlets are also praising the Gotham Knights for taking down their local opioid drug dealers. Duella turns it off the TV and tells the team that if the news knew who they were praising, they would lock them up alongside those drug dealers. But hey, at least they figured out that if they find where the drug money is going, it'll take them to the court. Brody March is walking with Carrie in the hospital when he sees his dad get rolled in, fighting for his life. Turner goes to see Steph. She's freaking out and crying because she almost died. She never realized how scary it is for all of them until tonight. Turner points out that she is what's stopping him from ending up like Joe Chill. Carrie brings Brody some cookies in the waiting room while they sit and wait. Steph shows up and hugs him. After all the time they spent together that day, Carrie seems upset he went to her like that. Was their crush blossoming? Maybe. It's high school. Anything happens. Right. Carrie's mom comes out and reveals that Brody's dad is in stable condition in the ICU. Carrie hugs her mom as a thank you. Alone in his office, Harvey finds blood on his cheek from where the Talon touched him. Half of his face is shadowed. He knows something is wrong. And in one of the best shots of the series so far, he punches the mirror with a split-looking face in the shards.
Yep.
So, listen, I'm glad we're still watching this show, by the way. I would be okay if Turner died or something, and we just had our other core cast. I mean, like Stephanie's great, Carrie's great, Colin even I like. I'm just like, just the Turner thing still not doing anything for me.
The crazy thing is, at first I thought maybe it was the actor, and now I'm thinking it's not. I'm thinking it's just the character in general and the way that it's written. The fact that we know it doesn't exist in canon.
So, I mean, what you could do is, I know there's a Batman and Damian Wayne movie eventually being made with James Gunn, but you could go ahead and set the Damian character up, have Turner get killed, and then, or at the end of this season, if they sign up for season 2, which is probably highly doubtful at this point, they bring Damian in and say, "Hey,
I'll go you one better.
We'll go do it. I'm ready."
They could have built the Carrie character like they did Turner, and just had it all center around Carrie.
Yeah, and start from a Robin perspective and not a son perspective. Yeah. You know, so I guess it's why we're not in the writer's room, I guess. Too much sense. Anyways, so that was episode 6 of Chill in Gotham. Our next one here, I want to know if director, let's see, I want to go to his IMDb. All right, next episode is Titans, season 4, episode 9, titled Game Over. And I thought this was the penultimate episode. I apologize to all of you listening. There are 12 episodes this season and not 10, which is the usual. So we still have 3 episodes to go after this. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're fine. If you watched the whole episode and thought like I did, that, oh my God, how are they going to clear everything up in one episode? Well, we've got 3 more. So this one's directed by Jesse Warren. Jesse Warren, per IMDb, directed 84 episodes of Supergirl. And this is his first and only episode of Titans. He's in 5 episodes of The Flash, 2 episodes of Vampire Academy, 6 episodes of Arrow, 8 of the originals, 1 of Riverdale. He directed 8 episodes of Spartacus, one of my favorite TV series, and 1 episode of Gods of Arena. So he's done. He's not what's the word I'm looking for? He's not distant to comic book characters and shows.
No stranger.
Yeah, there it is. That's exactly what I was going for. Good Lord. All right, highonfilms.com, and this is reviewed by Madev Mehrotra. I'm sorry if I butchered your name again. It happens every time, and I apologize. At the beginning of the episode, Gar awakens in the Doom Patrol's house. The enthusiastic greetings of Robot Man and Negative Man. They introduce him to Cyborg, also known as Vic, who discovered Gar unconscious inside the house at the end of the last episode. Cyborg also blames Gar for the current predicament, being less than welcoming to him. Gar has been asleep for 3 days, and during that time, peculiar occurrences have taken place. Vegetation has sprouted throughout the house, which is not actually Doom Patrol's usual home. The group is stuck inside and unable to escape the house, unsure of their present location as well. In Metropolis, Superboy and Sebastian have a conversation at a cafe about collaborating in the future. Connor assumes control of LexCorp as its new CEO, succeeding Lex Luthor in the role, and extends an invitation to Sebastian to join him. Given that Sebastian's aspiration was to design games, which was revealed during their conversation, Connor guarantees that he can work with him and help him achieve his dream. I do not like this Lex Connor, the Connor Lex, whatever you want to call him. I just don't think it's very well done at all. I don't think it's that good. I just didn't see it this episode. I wasn't a fan.
Yeah, at first during the episode it bothered me more, but by the end I was like, okay.
Yeah, you got more rep into it.
He's balanced. He's more balanced than I thought he was going to be, because
we thought we were full on evil here, or full on Lex, but he was working to help them, but
without them knowing it.
Come on, man. We're 4 seasons into this, 3 seasons into you being in the show. Come on. Connor also plants the seed of doubt in his mind about the influence of Mae Bennett, his mother, on him, and whether she actually cares for him, as she never asked what he wanted to do or what his dream was. Uncertain about what to do, Sebastian is left behind as Connor departs, but he leaves a card with his contact information, which he got those made awfully quick. Subsequently, Sebastian goes back to Mother Mayhem. She intends to sound the horn that evening, which will revive Trigon, making Metropolis his initial target. Sebastian confronts her about what Connor previously said, demanding to know why she never inquires about what he wants. He believes that summoning Trigon is unnecessary since they already have enough power without him. May dismisses his argument with a laugh, claiming that Sebastian is powerless without Trigon. As their argument continues, it gets more and more heated. May belittles Sebastian, calling him weak, cowardly, and pathetic. She also says that someone with these qualities could not be possibly her son to insult him further. I don't know what she thought she was doing here,
Yeah.
but that's not what you want to do. May dismisses his argument with a laugh, claiming that Sebastian is powerless. Let's see. She also says that someone with these qualities would not possibly be her son to insult him further. She slaps him and commands him to use the horn and the procession to summon Trigon back that very night. Frustrated and infuriated by May's behavior and hurtful words, Sebastian employs the abilities bestowed upon him by the Blood Moon ritual and sets May ablaze. While he did not intend to kill her, he escapes without any hesitation or showing any remorse, leaving May's remains to dissolve to ashes. Soon after, Connor gave his first press conference where he announced that he has taken over LexCorp as the new CEO and promises to lead the company to a new direction across the globe with technical advancement which would bring the world together instead of tearing it apart. He says that this will be through clean energy and that they will work to eradicate things such as poverty and starvation. Sebastian is with him as he makes the announcement, satisfied by what he's hearing. The Titans are watching this very press conference live on television and are wondering what Connor is planning on doing. They conclude that the only way to find out his intentions is to go to LexCorp and ask Connor directly. They leave Rachel behind to protect her from Sebastian despite her protests because of the connection she shares with him. In the lab itself, Corey opens the door and instead of entering the other room, she finds herself in the same house where the Doom Patrol and Gar are currently trapped. Happy to be reunited with Gar, she's updated on their situation, and she isn't pleased to hear they have no idea what happened, where they are, or how to escape. Meanwhile, not yet having noticed Corey's absence, Dick contacts a friend in London who tells him about the Clavis Nocturne, or the Key of Night, which is a black magic ritual that could sever Rachel's connection with Sebastian. The ritual is designed to expel inner evil and gives it to a physical form so it can be destroyed once and for all. Presented with the choice of whether to do this ritual or not, she agrees, but only if the other Titans are kept in the dark, as she doesn't want them to see this side of her. At LexCorp, Connor has used all the technology and resources at his disposal to create Sebastian's game on their computers. Despite Connor's apparent enthusiasm, Sebastian is afraid of the game failing and him becoming the laughingstock of the world. To prevent that from happening and ensure his game's success, he uses his dark magic to tamper with the game's code. While he does this, Connor tries to destroy the horn using his powers secretly, but cannot even make a scratch or a dent in it. In the house where the Doom Patrol is trapped, Gar reveals to Corey that they are in the Red and that the Red has a will and power of its own, so they need to understand by themselves why they're trapped in the house. Elsewhere, Dick and Rachel meet with Helena, an Italian witch whose London friend said she would help them out with the Clavis Nocturne ritual. Helena discloses that Dick will be the one to summon the evil out of Rachel and use a magical blade powered by his faith to kill it, and that the physical evil will keep draining Rachel's life force until he does so. Hey, do we think the friend in London is John Constantine?
I think it's going to be. I don't know who else it could be unless it's I'm drawing a blank on his name now.
Gary from Legends of Tomorrow.
No. Shoot, I'm gonna have to look this up. Why can I not think of his name?
Let me think of it while I'm gonna keep reading on here. Let's see. Abraxas, Sebastian's game, is released to... That's such a cool name, by the way. Is released to worldwide acclaim and popularity, with many playing it non-stop. Connor talks to Mercy via text to figure out a way to destroy the horn, and he promises to buy time with Sebastian. Sebastian reveals to a horrified Connor that whoever loses the game is infected with his dark magic, falling into a coma and channeling their life into him. Through a comedic game of tennis, Corey realizes that she is grappling with the hatred and feels for Sebastian, having spared him before, and she decides to return to the world not because she hates him, because she wants to protect that which she loves. This revelation causes a new door labeled Back Door to appear, and Gar and Vic work together, and everyone escapes. Which was very cool because he did say Booyah, which, Beast Boy in the comics and all the shows and everything, like Teen Titans and Teen Titans Go, they're best friends in it, and they even had the whole Booyah line, which is very cool. Gar and Corey are back at the lab where they reunite with Tim, who tells them that Bernard has fallen into a coma as well. He brings them up to speed on what Connor and Sebastian have done, and they all have to strategize to find a way to destroy the game and save the players. Tim decides to hack into the LexCorp mainframe and delete the game directly by corrupting their servers, despite it technically being a felony. As Connor and Sebastian realize that they are being hacked, the latter uses his magic to make the cybersecurity even stronger, which makes it possible for Tim to hack in. However, Connor uses his super speed to authorize access to the server for the Titans when Sebastian is distracted, just as Tim is about to give up. Gar and Corey convince him to try the backdoor hacking route based on what the Red showed them earlier. Who you
So
got?
Willoughby,
Willoughby, the rabbit.
Mark Shepard's character.
Oh, that's a good call. That would make more sense too.
Could be Constantine though,
Yeah, they're
but
all
Willoughby
yeah,
is on Doom Patrol.
right.
So
So that makes more sense than that. And listen, I loved having Cliff and Larry in this episode. I feel like they were the
yeah,
perfect two to have in it. I
yeah.
was expecting more of a crossover this episode considering what we had in the last one, but I think they probably just wrapped that up for that one and said, "Here's what we're doing." So
Yeah.
I still enjoyed them. At the same time, Dick manages to kill Rachel's physical evil, severing the bond between her and Sebastian, which devastates Sebastian along with her realizing his game has now been deleted. Back at the lab after the ritual and looking at the hacking data, Dick realizes that they hadn't actually managed to hack in, but where they were let in by Connor, proving that he's actually on their side. Bernard, though, is still in a coma. Connor and Mercy communicate again as she reveals that she has found a way to destroy the horn. At the Metropolis morgue, May and Mother Mayhem comes back to life using a magic spell and is furious with Sebastian for killing her. The episode ends with Sebastian realizing that he's truly powerless without Trigon and maybe he should summon him after all.
And that was one of our big answers, right? Because when we watched the trailer for the second half of the season, we wondered whose arm is popping out of a body bag.
Yep.
Well,
Mother
that
May.
told us.
And it was also from the trailer that we also reacted to on Nerdwide Reacts on our YouTube. There was a scene of Connor laser eyeing down. I thought he was killing somebody. No, it was just him hitting the horn. So, which is fine, nice little misdirects.
Yeah. You knew that Mother May wasn't going to be gone that easy.
No, not just like
it
that.
It was too quick. Like, so it's not a surprise that they brought her back.
Joseph Morgan's acting this episode was really, really good. Especially him acting the dark Sebastian out of Rachel's body. Because the whole time I was watching, I was like, why does that character look so familiar to me? I was like, maybe it's like a based off of something else. No, it's just Joseph Morgan and a bunch of prosthetics. I was like, okay, that makes sense. So really good. I'm so glad that we got 3 more episodes and not 1. Because I was like, we still haven't seen Jason Todd training Tim yet. We haven't seen Tim get his super suit. And I was like, there's no way they're doing that just for 1 episode. And sure enough, they're not. So, releases this week: Star Wars Visions Season 2 launches on Disney Plus, and Thursday, May 4th as well. Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures, the series, launches on Disney Plus as well for your May the 4th be with you day. I imagine we'll probably get some news this week about some Star Wars stuff, hopefully, or at least some trailers of something good. But other than
May
that,
the 4th be with you.
listen, I'm with it. I'll be watching Guardians though that day. So, unfortunately, without Chris.
Damn it, Tyler! I need some space.
Apparently.
So, did you watch any movies this
I
week?
did. I watched
You watched
2. Watched Guardians 1 and Guardians 2. So, fully
getting
caught
ready.
up, getting ready for it. I should watch the holiday special. I don't think I will. But, I recently watched Infinity War and Endgame as well, so I'm good there. And Thor, which is the last place we saw everybody. But I think it's going to be really good. They had the LA premiere this week. And everyone says it's as good as Endgame, and No Way Home. So that excites me. Also, the other end of the spectrum, they're saying it's just an okay Marvel movie, but I don't. It's Guardians and James Gunn's last Marvel movie. It's going to be filled with heart-wrenching emotions. It's going to be filled with a lot of action and hopefully some good music. So we will see. I have a feeling some people are going to die, but
Probably. I saw some headline that said, I guess they get into Rocket's background.
yes, which they've had hints in Volume 1 and Volume 2 of his background, which I completely, because I hadn't seen. I've only seen Volume 2 once, and the first one maybe 2 or 3 times. So I didn't really remember. It's been years since what was it, 2017, 2018. So it's been a minute since I've seen the second one. So
Yeah.
but they've hinted at it.
Yeah. Should be good though.
Oh,
I'm gonna
I'm
try
ready.
and go I'm gonna try and go early on a Saturday and hopefully avoid the bigger crowds. So
Well, sometimes the bigger crowds are fun though, because everyone laughs at it
yeah,
or gets really excited at things, like I do in the movies. Unless you go watch Endgame with your family and you're the only one getting pumped up when Captain America says "Avengers Assemble." I was the only one that shouted out in my theater, so they're a bunch of losers.
well, when I went to see it in game, there weren't a lot of people in the theater I went to,
Mm.
but just down from me on the back aisle was this couple with a stroller, and
Oh, come on.
yeah, yeah.
No.
So
Y'all can
that
find a
kind of
babysitter for 3 hours. Come on, guys.
that kind of hampered my
Oh,
viewing experience because apparently the kid was a toddler. He got up and he fell and it scared him, so he started
oh my
crying. And then
lord.
they would sit there for 10 minutes at a time, letting the kid cry before they would finally take him out because
No.
neither of them wanted to miss the movie. And I'm just like,
I mean, I don't know. That's one of those things you gotta
there's
find a babysitter for if you're gonna go to see that
there's
movie.
theater etiquette.
Yes, that's exactly what it is, and they did not have any. So,
No. Um,
oh,
our movie this week, Amsterdam.
Amsterdam.
Uh,
We always have Amsterdam.
Amsterdam. So I'm gonna run through some of the cast here right quick. I'm gonna do the plot off of Wikipedia,
That works. Put it in my
and
phone.
it's fairly short. I don't think it'll be too difficult here. But stars. First off, it's directed, written, and produced by David O. Russell.
Oh,
Starring Christian Bale, who also produced, Margot Robbie, John David Washington, son of Denzel,
I did not know that.
um, and a supporting cast including Chris Rock, Anya Taylor-Joy, Zoe Saldana, Mike Myers, Michael Shannon, Timothy Olyphant, Andrea Riseborough, Taylor Swift, Matthias Schoenaerts, Alessandro Nivola, Rami Rami Malek, and Robert De Niro. Um, a pretty star-studded cast.
Yeah, they had just about anybody that could probably fit into it. They did.
I will say this before I get into the plot. Taylor Swift's not in it for very long.
No, they just did
I,
it just to say.
I was yeah, I was surprised. She seemed to do pretty well
Hmm.
for what little screen time she had. If you are not a Taylor Swift fan, you will enjoy.
It was pretty brutal. Just shoving her
You
underneath the car, and I was like, oh God, okay, that's where we went.
yeah, yeah. So, I mean, if you're not a Taylor Swift fan, you'll enjoy that scene. If you are, you'll enjoy the fact that she's in the movie.
Yeah,
So,
that's
um, all right, here we go with the synopses. In 1918, Bert Berenson is sent by his estranged wife's parents to fight in World War One. While
terrible.
stationed in yeah, while stationed in France, Bert befriends African American soldier Harold Woodman. After sustaining injuries in battle, Bert and Harold are nursed back to health by Valerie Vandenberg, an eccentric nurse who makes art out of shrapnel removed from the soldiers whom they befriend as well.
So it's so dark, man.
Yeah,
That's
it
so
really
weird
is.
and dark.
After the end of the war, the three live together in Amsterdam and become close friends until Bert returns to New York City to be with his wife. Harold, who has fallen in love with Valerie and begun a tenuous romantic relationship with her, also departs to New York to fulfill his aspirations of becoming a lawyer. 15 years later, Bert has opened his own medical practice catering to veterans of the war and still remains friends with Harold, who's now a lawyer. However, they've not heard from Valerie since they left Amsterdam. Harold asked Bert to perform an autopsy on Bill Meekins, a senator who served as the commander of their regiment during the war and played by Ed Begley, at the behest of Meekins' daughter Elizabeth, who believes that he was murdered. Bert performs the autopsy with the help of medical examiner Irma St. Clair. The autopsy reveals a considerable amount of poison in Meekins' stomach. Bert and Irma theorize this must have been his cause of death. Bert and Harold meet with Elizabeth to talk about the autopsy results, though she's suddenly killed when a hitman pushes her into traffic. The hitman frames Bert and Harold for her death, and they flee as the police arrive. Bert and Harold attempt to find out who'd led Elizabeth to hire them in order to clear their names. This leads them to wealthy textile heir Tom Bowes, his patronizing wife Libby, and Valerie, whose real surname was Vose, Tom's sister. They learn that Valerie was the one who convinced Elizabeth to hire them, knowing that they were trustworthy. Valerie's under constant supervision by Tom and Libby, who claim she suffers from a nerve disease. Bert and Harold talk with Tom, who suggests they talk to General Gil Dillenbeck, a famous and decorated veteran who was friends with Meekins. While Bert attempts to contact the general, Harold and Valerie spend the day at her home, where they notice the hitman, Tara Milfax. They follow him to a forced sterilization clinic owned by a mysterious organization known as the Committee of the Five.
Such a cool
After,
name, but a terrible, terrible organization.
yeah. After a fight with Milifax, Harold and Valerie reunite with Bert. Valerie takes them to the Waldorf Astoria, New York, where they meet Paul Canterbury and Henry Norcross, Valerie's benefactors from Amsterdam, who are secretly spies in the intelligence community. Paul and Henry explain that the Committee of the Five plan to overthrow the American government and that Dillenbeck can help them foil their plot. The trio meet up with U.S. General Dillenbeck, who's offered a large sum of money from a man on behalf of an unnamed benefactor to deliver a speech advocating for veterans to forcibly remove U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt and install Dillenbeck as a puppet dictator instead. The general agrees and plans to speak at a reunion gala Bert and Harold are hosting in order to draw out whoever's behind the plot. At the gala, General Dillenbeck reads his own speech instead of the one he was paid to read. Milfax intends to shoot him for doing so, but Harold and Valerie manage to stop him in time. Milfax is arrested, and the Committee of the Five are revealed to be four industry leaders, including Tom, who are fanatically obsessed with Benito Mussolini and Adolf Hitler and intended to turn the United States into a fascist country. Tom and the other leaders are arrested by the police, but they do not stay inside long and slander General Dillenbeck in the press following their release. General Dillenbeck testifies about the incident to the Congress and returns home to live out his life. Harold and Valerie leave the country since they cannot be together in the United States. Bert wishes them farewell, planning to reopen his medical practice and pursue a relationship with Irma. I should say, real quick, that Paul Canterbury, it didn't mention him up in the list of people in the film. Mike Myers plays Paul Canterbury.
I couldn't even tell. Well,
yeah.
No, I could tell. I just didn't pay attention because every scene was a different new big actor, and I was like, I knew he looked familiar. I just couldn't place it until I looked at IMDb later on. I was like, oh, good Lord, there were really so many people in it.
So I will say this. This actually, well, not everything in the film, but the plot to try and remove FDR actually did happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, they showed the little clip at the end.
Yeah. Smedley Butler, he and Alvin York were the two big heroes of World War One, and he actually snitched out the people trying to recruit him, just
as
like
he should.
And he actually got his name smeared in the press.
Yep.
So a lot of that's based on fact. He actually wrote a book called War's a Racket, where he detailed as a Marine everything he was told to do by the things he wasn't supposed to do, like being sent into other countries to get private banks their money back that they had loaned to these foreign leaders, or go into other countries and kill leaders
spy
to install
work.
people. Yeah. So he did a lot of telling on Uncle Sam when he was older. The film I thought was
Yeah.
I like the idea behind it. I think they could have made a really good drama out. It's kind of a quirky, offbeat comedy.
Yeah, it was like I never felt like it identified itself well.
No.
Like at certain times, like it would get real serious, and then it would get, like you said, quirky and offbeat and try to be funny, and then it just, I don't know, it was kind of weird how they told it. Like when Margot Robbie shot her brother and sister-in-law, and like it just kept talking. I was like, they would be dead right now, at least him.
Right.
And then it was real that she was imagining it. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then him getting high, the last scene of the movie, and it's very, very weird. I gave this one 3.5 stars, just because I mean it was an entertaining story and loosely based on history.
I came in at a 3.
3. And I like
Yeah.
how we're always like super close to each other on these movies.
I I did notice here that it says it notes it was so it had a budget of $80 million, right?
Did you go to all the stars?
Probably estimated losses at the box office 108 million.
Really?
I guess after marketing and everything was factored in, it
Mm,
picked it up. So this was a major box office
yeah.
bomb.
They didn't do
Uh,
well with that one at all then. Oof.
I I feel like I don't know. To me, this is the sort of story I would have rather them have told it in a more dramatic way
Yes.
and just been like, "Hey, this happened." Because to me, it's an intriguing enough story on its own.
That's what like. I enjoyed the story of it, and like
Right.
if it, especially within like with a kind of the founding fathers and the original Nazis and stuff like that, kind of going through
Yeah.
that.
I feel like what they tried to do was capitalize on the popularity of stuff like Enola Holmes,
Yes.
where it has like a quirky sense of humor, but it's also a detective story
Yeah.
and a mystery. And I felt like they tried to, or Knives Out,
Hmm.
kind of a blend of those, and they kind of failed.
Yeah.
This was,
It's I just I don't feel
and
like
it's,
they leaned in two different directions and never went full in on one or the other. Where they didn't shouldn't have stuck right there at the middle. They should have went to one side or the other.
yeah,
So
yeah. Um, it's worth a watch. It's the performances are good.
I think
The performances are why I gave it a three.
Chris Rock cracked me up.
Yeah,
The every time he was in a scene, he said, "You find a body, an open a white man's body in a casket open. Who do you think they're gonna blame? The black man." It's
and
just
then
the
and then
delivery was great.
and then later on, he's like, "I told you that there was going to be a problem
Yeah,
with having a dead white man in a box, and now we got a dead white woman in addition to it.
right.
I'd rather have three dead white men in boxes than one dead white woman."
Yeah, it was like a lot of it was a lot of the racism in there was, and the way they treated veterans back then too.
Hmm.
I don't know why Bert stayed with his wife by any means like that.
No,
Her and her family are horrendous.
yeah, if you're going to shove anybody under a car, it should have been her.
Right. Like I
Um,
just and he kept pandering to her. And I'm like, no, man, you no.
yeah.
So
Uh, I will say the other thing that, because I've seen photos from back then, the prosthetics he's making for people's faces and things like that, that's somewhat accurate.
oh,
That's
they
what they were
looked
trying to
good. Like
That's what they were trying to do back then.
well, they did a good job with it because they showed off the first two people that were singing at the end
Hmm.
of the film, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool of how they did. So I it was the history stuff was kind of cool that was tied into it,
Yeah.
but they just should have picked a direction. Like again, if it was a dramatic or drama film, I think it would have been a lot better. Like just throwing away all the quirky stuff, lean into the full on drama, and I feel like it would have done a lot better. Even probably would have been up for an Oscar, honestly.
Especially with this cast.
You've got everybody is star studded throughout this,
Yeah.
but
And I feel like they got all these folks together and then they kind of wasted it.
yeah, didn't know what they were going to do with it.
And
Hmm.
it's kind of disappointing. Like if they announced they were going to remake a story about that event, they were bringing this cast back, I bet it would be a box office success.
Yes.
If it was going to be done as just a drama, we're going to tell what really happened.
Mm-hmm. And
Because
it'd
this
probably be
just,
even up for Oscars on top of that.
yeah.
But
Oh,
which I'm now part of that group now of Oscar watchers.
Oscar watches.
After 1 year of watching all the films and talking about it and stuff like that.
It's fun.
Yeah,
It's fun.
we're gonna start keeping our finger on the pulse on the trigger on that one of like the films that will probably go up for Oscars, so we can
Yeah.
watch it throughout the year, so we can actually watch all of them and not miss some as best we can, rather.
Yeah.
So,
Because there's I've always enjoyed watching the Oscars,
mhm.
right? But it kind of sucks when you're sitting there and you haven't seen any of
Yeah,
the
like
movies.
I don't think that should win because that one should have won, and because it's the only one you've actually seen. That's how I always was.
Yeah. So next week our review is going to be Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Spoiler free. First.
spoiler free at first. Then we'll get into the spoilers.
Yeah.
The next week, along with another movie review. No news this week. Um, there was a small bit that I sent you. Um, that very, very tiny bit of news that apparently um, Grant Gustin was one of the people that they were trying to have a cameo for in the new Flash movie.
I wonder if that means we're going to get other cameos in.
But that came from an article by Nicole Drum on comicbook.com from the producer and director that they had cut cameos
It's
due to time constraints.
It's sad when everybody else recognizes Grant Gustin as Flash and not Ezra Miller, which I am perfectly fine with because Grant's held it on his shoulders for 9 years now. So,
yep. Releases this week, May the 5th, Cinco de Mayo. Go have some margaritas and go to the theater and see Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm sure Star-Lord would approve.
Yes. I wonder if he's got anything updated since he's been on Earth now. Because he was on Earth for the end of Endgame. I wonder if he got any fun little news updates since then.
Oh.
Since he's stuck in the 80s. Video games, Chris. Have you played anything?
I've just had time to do my normal stuff.
So I played more Dead Island throughout the week.
How's that?
I'm about halfway through. It's fine. If you like the first one, you're gonna love this one. If you like zombies, just melee, beat 'em up, just zombie slaying games, you like this one. It's fine. Story's the story. I really don't care. Like it's nothing polarizing, but it's fine. I played Assassin's Creed 2 again. They had the XEO collection on Xbox for dirt cheap. So I might as well. I don't have nothing else to do. I keep telling myself when I've got everything else to do. Played a little bit of it. I'm not very far into it. This will be like my 8th or 9th replay of this game. So I know I'm a little addicted. I know. Just a little addicted to the Assassin's Creed franchise. And then I know what you're wanting to know. Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Have I been playing it? I have.
Oh.
Every bit of my free time since Friday, since I got home, has been dedicated to this game. And I am absolutely loving it. I have one small issue, and it's the technical issues are terrible. They're frame drops. It's apparently this is much, much, much worse on PC than it is on the consoles, but like frame drops are bad. I get audio desync sometimes. Sometimes my game won't load. I'll have to force quit it and load it back in. But the story and gameplay are so much elevated from the first game. That's very well done. I think, though, it should have been pushed back a couple of weeks.
I do like the commercial I saw during the draft.
With Mark Hamill?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that was so good.
You get 2 lightsabers.
Right. I thought it was very well done the way they did that. But it's a great game. I mean, if you enjoyed the first one, and you'll love this one. This is the best lightsaber game that has ever been made. And granted, there's not a whole lot to really compare it to, but this feels the best. It's great. We're getting some good story elements built in because this is still between episode 3 and episode 4. But now with the Star Wars universe being much more fleshed out due to all the TV shows and Disney Plus, you're getting there's small little callbacks to certain shows. I don't want to say anything because I don't want to spoil it for some people, but they've made some callbacks and they're going places that I don't really know too much about. I'm texting my buddy Bill, who you know as well. He's been playing it. And he's a huge Star Wars nerd. And so when I hit these certain story beats, he'll tell me the significance of why it's so crazy because media and anything has not covered this certain era of a Star Wars piece. And so it's really exciting for those kinds of people who are really into Star Wars. I'm just a fan of it. I'm not too deep into that, but it's really cool. And then we beat Kingdom Hearts. Technically, and Jamie says this is cheating, and I disagree. So Kingdom Hearts is one of the hardest games ever made, period. It's supposed to be like a younger adult, teenager video game, the ending scene are like no save points, and it's extremely difficult, and I was not leveled up for it. So what did I do last night? I said, Stella, hold on real quick. Turned the game off, pulled up YouTube, and had from the part that I was having trouble with all the way through to the end. Jamie says it's cheating, and I say it is not, just because we want Stella to have this whole experience. And so now we're going to be playing Kingdom Hearts 2, hopefully sometime this week.
You watched the YouTube video, but Stella's the one that beat the game, so it wasn't cheating.
That's true. So it's a good point, Chris. I'm going to use that argument here in a minute. But so we're done with that. I think we're just going to do like the main titles, like Kingdom Hearts 2 and 3. Because, I mean, they're big games, like 50-hour games. So I'm just going to jump into those next ones. I have some little special bonding time with her. And that's about it. Playing a lot of games and watching a lot of TV. So
She's going to be a future game designer.
I would be okay with that.
Yeah.
It's a little volatile at the moment, but by the time she gets of age, it should be fine.
Yeah.
Unions and things will be in place. Notable releases this week: Redfall for PC and Xbox Series X and S, and on Game Pass May 2nd. I might hold off to check out this game. Reviews haven't dropped yet, which is not a good sign considering we're 2 days from release. But they did already say that, hey, we are only having 30 FPS starting out, which is fine. A lot of people had outrage about that, but I'm like, I would rather them have the game out and working than delayed more just to get one certain thing in. So, which a small community cares about. But I'll probably wait off on it to play it because Star Wars and then Destiny's Guardian game starts on Tuesday as well. So all my time will be on video games, which I'm okay with. So we'll see. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for watching and listening to this episode of the Nerdwide Podcast. Don't forget to share on all your favorite social media platforms, and forget to rate and review this podcast on whatever podcasting service you use. Social media, you can follow the Nerdwide account on Twitter at nerd_wide. You can follow me personally at Ty_Haynes. You can follow Chris at MavTN7. On the Facebook side of things, just search in Nerdwide, Nerdwide Podcast, nerdwide.com. We're always the first thing that pops up if you type in Nerd and Wide on Facebook. Make sure to follow us on either one of those social media accounts because that's where you get your news as if we have any scheduling changes or anything like that. I do need to start using that more and like posting more like questions, things like that. We'll get there. But as always, this has been this week's episode of the Nerdwide Podcast, and we cannot wait to talk to you next week about Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and not the finale of Titans Season 4.
Not the finale.
But until then, we will see you then.
Later, guys.